Now here we are going to continue with the permissions. In previous slide we have seen the permission using chmod, and now we have used attribute. Now we are going to use the numbers in spite of this attributes. So previously the standard attributes which we had, that is g, u, a, plus, minus, equals to, which was a standard permission which we used for resetting the permission. Now here we will be using this numbers for setting the permission. So basically these numbers are the constant numbers. So these numbers we are going to set permission for owner differently, group differently, and your others differently. So now we are having a group of our permissions like read, write, execute for group, read, write, execute for others. Now here we are going to define these numbers for defining a permission. Now we are going to define read permission for my owner. Now for example we have read, write, and execute. So we will just replace it with number. Now 4 we have for read. I don't want to define the execute and write permission, so I can give 0, 0. So it will become R 0, 0, it will become 4. Now if I want to define read and execute for my group, so I'll define read 4, execute 1, and 0 for this. The 4 plus 1, 5. For others, I don't want to define the permission, so 0. If I want to define permission read and write for others, so read will be 4, write will be 2, so it will combinedly become 6. So 4 plus 2, it will become 6. So owner permission 4, group permission 5, other permission 6. So while defining, I'll define chmod 4, 5, and 6. That will be the permission. Now, if I want to give full control, so I'll use read, write, and execute permission. So it combinedly becomes 7 because 4 read, 2 plus add for your write, and we will add 2 plus execute, that will become 4 plus 2 plus 1, that is 7. That is will be a full control permission. If I don't want to define any particular permission, I can use div 0. So each and every number which you have, just you need to add the numbers. Same if I want to give permission 2 plus 1, that is your execute and your write permission. Same we will see it practically in our virtual machine. So I'm going to start our virtual machine here. I'll just list out what are the folders and files we have. So I'll just check LL. We have demo.txt. I'll be using the same file demo.txt. I'll just set the default permission of demo.txt. It is your read, write, execute for owner, write for group, and write for others. I want to read for others read for group and read for others. Now we will just check the permission. I'll change the permission by using chmod. But I'll change the permission as read and write for our owner and read and execute for our group. So we'll just have a look how we can check the permission now. Read and write permission, it will be 4 plus 1, that is read and write will be 4 plus 2, that will be 6. If I want to define any other permissions, we can use just a combination of numbers and need to add these numbers, and then we can get the permission now. So we can set the permission for any of the files we can list over here, but I'll be using demo.txt. I'll just check the demo.txt permission once, and then we can move ahead with the practical. So I'll just check the permission again. I'll check by giving command LL demo.txt. Now we can see this is the permission. Now again I am going to check 6 for my owner, and for group I want to define read and execute. So for read we have 2, 4, and we have execute 1. So read and execute, that is 4 plus 1, it will become 5. So I'll define 5 for my group. For others, I don't want to define any permission, so I'll give 0. So setting 0 will define nothing. So for file demo.txt, now I can check the permission 650 is applied or not. So 6 read and write, your read and execute 5, and 0 for others, that is nothing. This is how we can set the permission using numbers, but you need to remember the numbers, standard numbers. Same way, if I want to make some changes in the permission, I will just add the permission chmod space. Now I want to change the permission as full control for my owner. So I'll make 7 for owner. That is read, write and execute. That is my full control. Now 5 for group. That is read and execute. For others I want to just define 4. That is read permission, right? So 4 for 7 for full control permission for owner, read and execute for group, and just read permission for my user or others. Now I can check the permission. It is set. Read and execute for owner, read and execute for your group, and just read for the others. This is the way how we can define the permission for a specific file or directory. Now, if you can see, by default when I create a new directory or file, so automatically it gets a permission. The default permission. It is not like that you have not set the permission, so you won't be able to see the list of permissions. So I'll just create a file and I'll check what the permission we generally get. You can create a file, default permission. You can check default permission. I'll just write the text here. I'll save the file. Now I'll check the permission by using mll command. So it is getting some default values. Read, write for owner, group for R, and R for others. Now say I'll create a directory. Default. I'll create 2 different directory, default and directory permission. I can check the permission for this directory. Now I can check both the folders. Default permission and default is having same permission. Read, write and execute, read and execute, read and execute. So if I create a second folder with the same name or directory permission 2, you can check the permission of this directory, then it should get again the default permission. So I have defined the space in between. So it's already created. I'll just check the permissions of this default directories. Both are getting the same permissions. Read and execute for owner, read and write for group and for others as well. So how we are getting this permission? So we are getting this permission using a umask value. So umask value is by default set in your system. So before setting that permission or before changing the permission, we should know how we can see the umask value. So by default, umask value is predefined set. So default permissions which we have, and the default permission of directories and files are different. So we'll just change the default permission for read and execute. Just we'll have a look on the directories. Now we are going to create a new directory, but before that we'll just check what the umask value is. So we'll just check the umask value so we can change the value so that next time we will create the directory we can get the directories. So you can see here the umask value is 022. 022 means it is 0022. So it will get subtracted from 777. But so after subtracting it, we generally get 022. You can get number 755, which is the permission you have, default permission. 7 full read write execute for owner, read and execute for others, and use and execute for group. So now if I want to set the permission, default permission as 750, I need to set the umask value as 027. So what will happen? 7 minus 7 will become 0, 7 minus 2, 5, and 7 minus 0 equals to 7. So we need to change my umask value as 027. So how we are going to change this particular umask value? So for that, we will just give command umask space and 027. Just it will replace the existing umask value then. Check the umask 0027. Now if I want to create a directory or folder, now you can check the default permission here. For that, I'll be creating a directory. Check umask folder. Now just ll, you can just check. See the permission of check umask. It is, I can see 7 full control, read and execute for your group, and for others you have 0, nothing. The number of files and folders will be created, you will be getting the default permission as same now, because the default value we have set is 0 to 7. So this is generally we get the default permission. Now if I want to check the default permission of umask value as 022, so you can set that permission. Umask value we can check 022 it is right now, so we can again check creating a directory. Umask check, you can check the directory. The folder permission is completely default permission which we had previously. So all the permission depend upon the umask value. So you should know what the umask value you have. Now one more thing we can have a look, like recursive permissions. Now suppose I am changing a permission of a directory. Now we have multiple directories here. Now I'll change the permission of a directory. I have directory permissions. I'll be using this directory now. So default permission of this particular directory. You can see your default directory is having some certain files and folders. It is not having, so we will be creating a directory, files and folders inside my default. So I'll just create a touch file in spite of creating multiple directories and files. So I'm creating a file 1, file 2 and file 3. Enter. So we have these 3 files over here. It is also having some default permission. Now I'll create one more directory here, so we can even check the default permission for the directory as well. Now you can check the default permissions set for files and directories are different. As the parent directory, the permission which we had for default is, just we'll check ll, just we'll check the permission for default. Default is having permission is read, write and execute, read, write and execute, read, write and execute. So if we move inside the folder, the permissions are completely different. The permissions are completely default permission which we get. So what we require is, whenever I change the permission for the parent folder, automatically the subfolder should get the same permissions. So while defining the permission itself, we are going to create the permission in such a way, chmod space -r. We will be defining just space -r, so that it will become a recursive permission. Recursive permission is nothing but it will directly re-inherit or inherit the permissions to the subfolders as well. So we will be using capital R, chmod space capital R. What the permission you want to give? I want the permission to give 750. So for default folder. So all the content inside the default folder should also contain this particular permission. So we can just check default permission is changed to 750. I'll just move into my default folder as well. Now by giving command cd default enter, and I can check by giving ll command. Now the files and directory inside has set to same permission. Owner full control, read and write, read and execute for group, and for others we don't have any permission here. Now if I'm going to create more directories here, again it will go to the default permission. It won't be inherited with the other. This is security which we have in Linux. So that it by default, if we have a full control permission to a parent folder, the subfolder should be inherited by the user itself. Otherwise it won't automatically inherit the permission to the new folder for file created. So that to maintain the security with all files and folders. So for that, again we need to hit the command chmod -750 default. Again it will inherit the permission to all the folders which it has. Can check that. You can see. So whenever you are adding more files and folders, if you want to change the permission to the parent folder, you need to make changes in your folder and files again. So you have to give recursive permission. Without that, it won't take the parent permission, which is by default in other operating systems. But here, for more security maintained through your Linux, so that you have to define the permission manually for each and everything. So this is default permission, which we have seen. We have seen how to set the permissions by using numbers. We have seen how to set the recursive permissions. Now we have completed with our permission. Now in next topic we can complete with your next session. So we are winding up with this particular session here.